And fall in, my fellow scout troopers, welcome back to a Napoleon Total War 3 4v3 battle replay today. Today's replay is not really a format I do very often for Napoleon Total War. It's kind of a siege style battle. And today's replay was sent to me by Richard the Lionheart. His allies today, as before, are Thundernut and Johnny the Buffon. Their opponents today were Guy, Angry Peasant Don, and Zeus Notorious. Now this is an all Spanish alliance today, commander based. We have here Venegas, La Mancha. Looks to be maybe all three the same, maybe. Yeah, they're all Venegas, La Mancha armies, all three of them. Well, that's easy. And they're up against the French alliance. So we got 4 French teams. This hill seems like the ideal spot for the siege to take place. Maybe that's the idea, who knows. It's too bad they can't occupy this building here. That'd be a nice last stand spot. Have the artillery firing at the hill all around it. Pretty cinematic ending, but that won't happen because, well, they can't occupy that building. So, how will the Spanish fight here today? You gotta wonder. Outnumbered, 4 armies to 3. High ground will be key, of course. And that's why the Spanish is falling back there to the hill. France is not moving at all. They're just sort of scouting the area with their cav. Maybe checking for nasty surprises. I don't think points are going to matter too much. There's no way the Spanish can really compete with the French in terms of having the armies to cover the ground they need to occupy the necessary points to win. I'm not too sure on the money, Margaret. It seems like the Spanish would have maybe a larger budget, so they could bring more troops than the other team. Have to see what happens in time. Looks like, is those lancers or no? This is a Malay cav. And France is charging in alone when the Spanish cavalry here is heavy cav and has backup support nearby. Well, that battle was never going to go his way. Lancer cav coming in. Spanish cav, obviously the morale's... they're broken. Well, that heavy cav unit's disappointing. Well, the first battle went all the Spanish way, but right now it looks like France is just rolling over them. I don't know if this is the same player or not, but he seems to have left these units high and dry. Like, they have cav nearby they could have sent over to help them win this cav engagement, but he didn't do it. Maybe he just thought there wasn't enough time for the cav to arrive, the battle was going to be over when he got there. Maybe that was the idea. It's also possible he feared the French infantry as well. Yeah, this is artillery here, but it's not deployed as of yet. This little village here could act as good protection from that French artillery if the Spanish line moves back further enough, but tries to stay off that hill. It's a tricky situation, that one. We have here Spanish artillery, which is pretty much by themselves up here. There's cavalry sort of nearby, a general unit and a cav unit, but they're ways off. In fact, this cavalry unit's protecting this artillery piece right here. Alright. They're all moving towards the hill. France is encroaching on their territory. We got a Spanish unit way out here for some reason. This feels like Johnny the Buffon being sneaky, sending out a cav unit way back, way to the right, or well, out of sight, out of mind, essentially. Obviously, trying to move them up around behind enemy lines. Snoop around looking for that general or artillery target and then pounce. He's trying to be inconspicuous, not draw attention to himself. Yeah, that kind of play has Johnny written all over it, that one. Well, we might do a small cut and come back once the firing starts. It looks like France is getting in close, but no guarantee when they're going to open fire. There's also no guarantee the bullet's going to hit anything. not those tents catch the bullets as they're fired. Alright guys, we're back. And that cavalry unit we spotted a long time ago, trying to sneak their way around, well, they chose to charge into the backs of an infantry unit that didn't see them coming. That infantry is still hanging on, the morale's very good. And just like that, they lose a cav unit. Did a number on them. Maybe the plan was to break the cavalry unit and then go after the artillery. And the only way to get to the artillery was to go through the infantry unit. Now this battle here, this artillery battle has been going on for some time. Like 10 minutes at least. The Spanish line here has been under constant bombardment. I've seen multiple hits here on these units in particular in that time. These guys here are mostly protected by this by these concrete walls here, it would seem, or stone walls. We've got the French skirmishers obviously firing at a safe distance outside the Spanish range. These guys are a glutton for punishment. Spain has the artillery to go toe to toe with them, but they just don't seem to be getting too many good hits. France is definitely wearing down their centre. This is going to be weighing on the Spanish mind right now. I'm not too sure what this army's doing. Maybe hiding behind the hill for protection. Waiting for those other French forces down there somewhere to reveal themselves. And then make a move. Alright guys, we're back. So we got a cav engagement underway. We have 2 Spanish units facing off against 3 with the 3rd Spanish unit looking to charge on their French right flank. Well, France saw them coming, it seems, at the last second. But those other Spanish cavalry units are staying out of the battle. I thought he sort of timed that so we see all units charging at the same time, but they held back. That's weird. They pulled the trigger but didn't see the plan through. Maybe this infantry unit, I'm only speculating here, threw him off, I don't know. For sure, but that's gotta be it. I mean, charging in right now is gonna be suicide. The real question is, why wouldn't they charge him before? If he was confident of victory, he should have charged in when the battle originally began. Like, this whole charging one unit at a time is a disaster for him. He probably thought that heavy cavs should be able to handle themselves against, you know, mid to light tier cavalry, which it looks like this is. But these cav units obviously have good morale and are probably boosted by the fact they have infantry support so, you know, close by. Alright guys, we are back. And we've seen some drastic changes here to the Spanish formation. Their line once extended here from this army all the way down here around the hill. But the centre player, after suffering prolonged, never-ending bombardment, has retreated. As you can see, most of his force up the high ground, trying to get them behind the crest of the hill, just trying to get some protection from that artillery. The French are just laying it into him constantly. We've got some Spanish forces here trying to deal with this pesky French skirmish unit. These skirmishers really holding their own and also taking a few casualties. So a lot of manoeuvring going on around here for the Spanish side, that's for sure. I mean, it's been nearly 30 minutes, we haven't really seen a serious engagement. We've just seen a few touches with the cav so far and a lot of artillery strikes. Alright guys, we're back because this 4 Spanish units here actually held their ground. They didn't retreat at all, and they're taking on 3 French units, and our friend, the French skirmishers, are still around. See, 2 of these 4 units currently are, I bet anything, are targeting still the French skirmish units. And we've got the French here trying to outflank the Spanish, really stacking their left flank so they can turn and outflank the enemy, begin folding them up left to right. Now the artillery might be able to help prevent that. The real question is, can it fire down the hill effectively? Right now the artillery here is not firing at the right position or the right location. They can give it a go, and they should. We've also got these guys here. Where's it? That Spanish artillery needs to kick it in the high gear. Oh, okay, the artillery is finally targeting this position. Looks like they're going for a bayonet charge. They broke one unit. So the entire Spanish line down here is crumbling. Looks like we've got a battle here forming on at the north as well now. So we'll head there in a second. Looks like these horses are leaving their artillery. Three on two. The Spanish is losing this one. Accuracy is not going the Spanish way. Oh, they just smacked their own troops. Alright, we'll head back there in a second. Spain's trying to hold the town here. Looks like it's under heavy assault. They haven't even started firing the artillery yet. Actually, looks like they have. We've got 4 buildings so far destroyed. He's lined them up well. If the artillery has a range, it can hit the units up here on the hill. Potentially take out the artillery crews as well. Maybe even a general if it's nearby. The French couldn't have picked a better spot to set up their artillery. Let's see. Okay, this is loading up. Must be a glitch or something. They keep reloading the cannon.
This building has fallen to the enemy.
No, that's not good. I think the Spanish artillery is about to be overrun. How could they all shoot the same spot and miss? French aren't falling fast enough. Spain is trying to fight an opponent with superior numbers and superior units, it would seem. These French units have decent morale. Obviously they're a quality shot if they're killing and breaking the Spanish units so quickly. It's a big ask for the artillery here to hold all these French forces at bay. Well, they're eager and active. No dice. You know, I'm not seeing too many advantages here for the Spanish. By advantages, I mean superior numbers, decent quality troops. It's hard to say how much the effect the artillery has had on the morale. I would guess quite a lot. But the Spanish forces seem to crumple very quickly as soon as they're engaging the French forces. They're really struggling to go toe-to-toe here with the French forces. The artillery is like the Spanish Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's their only hope. See, look at that. French forces saw one volley there. Has that unit's morale in the red. Just the one volley. Seems like the Spanish alliance here needs to rethink their strategy and set up their lines in a manner where the artillery takes front and center. It seems to be the only card all the Spanish players have to try and hold back the French forces effectively. When the Spanish just try to fight the French infantry to infantry, it's not playing out for them on any front so far in this battle, which is just a little surprising. I thought they lost those forces before, but obviously I was wrong. Careful, mate, you're going to kill your own horse. They're charging with the bayonets and the cav. Spanish trying to do everything they can to save their artillery. They got to change targets or stop shooting in that direction. They seem to be killing some of their own cavalry. Looks like they can finally take out that skirmisher unit. That's been a real thorn in their sides this whole battle. This artillery should probably fire canister shot. Enemy forces are so close. The real question is, can they do it? It says eager but not in combat, so they're not firing. Okay, we have Spanish Grenadiers, no wonder they're doing so well in melee. Up against standard French infantry. They're trying to save their artillery, but they're moving so slow. See, this French player over here, he's going for a direct assault on the hill. Whereas the way I'd probably play this is to march the French armies around the hill. At the same time, have the other two French players approach from just general direction on the other side. Basically force the French up the hill. Try and compact them tightly. Maybe too tight so they can't spread out and fire effectively. The more they bunch up the French forces here, the harder it will be for them to fight back. And the easier it will be for the French armies to strengthen their lines, to lengthen their lines, so they have more guns firing into the Spanish. And not to mention the fact that by forcing them closer together, the French artillery, which is already stationed, set up and firing at the Spanish constantly, will enable them to get extra hits and get more kills per shot into a large body of French soldiers. Now France here, they've run the Spanish out of the town. There's a couple of brave units still hanging on. Well, that really sucks. Oh no, they won their battle. Don't know if I'll win that one. No, it's all looking good for them. Now we knew this French cav was here a while ago, as did the Spanish. That's why this cav was behind in this location in the first place.
Our men are running, sir.
But they've lost. Those three units are still intact. The French armies continue to herd the Spanish closer and closer up the hill. There's only so much space for all these units. The Spanish forces are looking a little depleted, actually. There's gaps in the line that could be exploited. Now we have 4 French units directly in front of these 7 Spanish units. They probably should have moved forward to try to attack these 3, maybe even 4 French units there before reinforcements arrive. Anything that they can do to get extra kills will just help them out in the long run. This artillery piece is paying its weight worth of gold. Nice shot, but at this range, I think canister will be the way to go, but he's firing cannonball. Crew's down to 11. He's killing his own artillery crew. He doesn't even realise it. Good, he realised. Canister shot right there. Very nice. Very, very nice. Well, we've got the perimeter set up. They seem very nervous that the French are just going to come at them from this one direction. They seem to have forgotten about the French artillery that was just stationed right here before. Don't know. And we've got 3 Spanish units that's marched down the gap here that was originally stationed here by the centre player. He's moving them around to try and outflank the French. Help out his ally here on his left. But we've got about 4 units of French soldiers or so moving in to head these guys off. The Spanish artillery definitely playing an important role here in this particular battle. This one 8-pounder crew. but he pulled away. I thought he was trying to lure the French in, and he was going to engage them in a way that lined them up with that artillery. But maybe this French player was too clever. He saw it and then retreated. But he didn't retreat until the Spanish player retreated, so you could probably argue that the Spanish made the first wrong move. They retreated, and so the French player thought, well, if they're retreating, what the hell am I pursuing them for? I'll let them go. I'll keep my forces with the army. And the Spanish almost had them all lined up. Unless you've got a lot of artillery shooting at the enemy artillery, the odds of you breaking them in a hurry ain't that high. You can tell the French alliance here is looking to end this quick. They're moving up their artillery, very close. They're actually firing canister still. I thought they stopped firing canister shot. Given the clock's proximity, of course. I don't know if the Spanish even stood a chance of winning this fight to begin with. I might be talking a little bit premature, but they've gone to great lengths to protect their rear. But the French army is coming at them from the sides and potentially the front, not the rear. The cavalry is of course some concern, but if you just space out some units, keep them pointed in that direction, leave them on fire at will, infantry should be able to fire, get a nice volley off into the enemy cav as it charges, and that usually does break them, unless they, have decent morale or are elite heavily armoured cavalry. And to consider those factors. And I suppose you need to be paying attention to, if they're squareable, you need to turn on that squareable function. Like that. The Spanish look like they're out of cavalry. That's not good news there. Spain is orchestrating a counterattack. We've got the French forces potentially on the run, but I don't think the French are going to give up their artillery. Still firing cannonball, but the next one should be canister. Jeez, man, if you're going to charge in, but that plan failed, unfortunately. Didn't have the morale. Potentially was heavily damaged. I haven't seen any general unit break on the Spanish side just yet. How can the Spanish turn this around? Can they bring this back from the brink of destruction? It's almost like the Spanish are baiting them. They want them to charge up through the center of the hill here. If the French are going to get drawn into that, then they need to move their forces, a large portion of their remaining forces, around here and engage the Spanish front line. They've got to keep them busy at the same time the other force from the rear moves up. And once it gets in here, it'll basically be shielded from the Spanish artillery, so it'll be doing just fine. But they got They got a long march ahead of themselves. Spain is on its way here, potentially from cascading defeat. No, they won't get a volley off. These guys here, they're doing just fine. It must be the blue uniforms. Got a few scattered French forces, but this is where the main battle's at. Spanish lines are collapsing. Seems to be a slow fight for such little ground. It looks like these guys here can form pike or square. One of the two. And the heavy cav is breaking them. Yep. This is why you gotta have your squareables spaced out. One on the left, one on the right, and like a few in the middle there. Spaced out evenly amongst the infantry. You gotta keep the enemy cavalry guessing. Can they form square? Can they not form square? Are these grenadiers? Are they not grenadiers? Typically you want to look at the hats. That usually is a good way to tell whether or not a unit is a grenadier unit without reading the title of it. Thunder Nut. Well, it is what it is. Oh, this makes another one. Johnny the Buffin just lost his general. Battle for the Summit is underway. They've conquered the hills to the north and they're making their way down south. Bit of a tense shoot off, but France is winning this one. He just doesn't have the forces to protect his perimeter. He's got to deviate forces from where they're not being used to plug that gap and fight on the united front with the rest of the team. This whole lone wolf shit, it seems to be really hurting the Spanish, not so much the French. Alright, we're back. France is going for a bayonet charge, looking to break the left wing of the Spanish and begin folding them up from there. If the left wing starts to fold, then I think the Spanish are done. It's a tough one to think about. Problem. The Spanish units obviously have infantry in the area they can use to fire into the flank of the French forces, but then they're opening themselves up deliberately to these other French forces already lined up over here. So this player is caught between very much so a rock and a hard place. There's no good option for him right now, especially with all the cav gone on the Spanish side. Alright, we have 4 units, soon to be 3. They have the French units surrounding them along with cav. And most infantry surrounding this unit here. Spanish here seem to have just followed the French plan nicely. I mean, the French got them right where they want them. But the whole point of the French maneuvers here was to group you guys up in a tight area at the top of the hill. And they've succeeded in doing that. The Spanish units here are all bunched up. There's not enough guns firing at the enemy. Whereas the French are able to spread out and fire all the guns they want into the French forces, which are bunched up. So what's going to happen is we're going to have multiple units here getting hit by ricochet by second-hand bullets. Bullets that were meant for one unit here, but will now hit the other one beside it, or the one further on beside it. I suppose the only good thing for the Spanish is that being up here makes it very hard for the French to use their artillery. I know what I said earlier, but this is a crest of the hill. Getting a shot up here with the artillery is not an easy task. It's like threading the needle. Is there a way for the Spanish to win this? It doesn't appear so. If I'm the French, I'm just spreading out my forces right now with my teammates all the way around here. Get like one giant circle going. And then just let the Spanish have it until there's not one single one left standing. But the French here are all bunched up, offering up the Spanish an opportunity to get back in this fight. We're seeing a massive chain rout here. The French have gone from a position of immense strength to basically falling apart. If I'm the Spanish right now, I've just got a huge boost of confidence. I was facing annihilation a second ago, and I've repelled, that looks to be, once I can count, 10 units, 10 French units in this area here alone that they've broken in the last 3 minutes. Now I thought falling back like this was a bad thing. I thought that opened them up to a superior firepower of the French. Now, if the French want to win this, which I don't know if they actually have the time to, they don't have the time to do this, but once the Spanish made it clear they were heading towards the top of the hill here, then I wish the French units basically had an artillery piece right here. That will shoot right across the Spanish line. Now, we know they've got artillery firing down here, but not having a lot of luck. The units here would seem more exposed to artillery fire. We got here 8 minutes. So Spanish holding out and mounting a nice last stand. This is the second time we've seen French charge in extremely bunched up. I mean, what are they thinking? Maybe it's AI or something, thinking this is a good idea. This is a very strange lineup. They're getting friendly fire. They're shooting themselves. They're breaking themselves. What is happening right now? Up until this point, the French strategy was going off like clockwork. I thought they were achieving everything they seemed to be building up this whole time, and then they've gone now, the second time now, they've bunched up their forces and tried to just charge towards the enemy, like in the Battle of Cannae with the Romans versus Carthage. They stacked the deck, they went for power, tried to push through the enemy, overwhelm them, break them apart that way. But instead of encirclement, the Spanish should just be shooting this blob to death as they approach. So the Spanish are doing a nice job here repelling these seemingly mass bayonet charges from the French. This was a very interesting change of tactics, and I definitely want the French players to comment in the video description below and try to walk us through what was going on here. Why did they think charging in like that was a good idea? Because the Spanish were prepared. They were bunched up, but they had their firing lines set up, and they were firing pretty effectively into a mass blob of French forces that weren't spread out themselves. That was the big disadvantage. Being that tightly packed together, the troops can't fire effectively, and when they can fire, you're risking shooting your own men as well. This is an amazing last stand that the Spanish could actually walk away from. Usually last stands end with the team mounting it, dying at the very end. But the Spanish are looking very strong. I don't think the French will be able to wrestle them from this hill anymore. You could have also had some French players drop from the game as well. I got to chalk this up to AI tactics, I think. I'm not sure why players, if French players left, I'm not sure why they would have left. Everything was going the way they were winning. They seemed to just have them, and then everything went wrong. And I mean everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for the French side. They're going to lose this now, but they were on the verge of winning. And that all went wrong over here. So what happened, guys? Was it simply a matter of a French player dropping and then another one left maybe, or dropped himself and then the AI took over? Because that seems to have been what's happened here. I mean, I'm sorry to take away the Spanish victory here by chalking this up to AI pushes, but it really seems to be that way. The French were slowly eroding the Spanish unit by unit. They were gaining ground on all sides. You can see the bodies. And then, yeah, everything went wrong. All at once. We've got 2 minutes 53 seconds left on the clock.
We have killed their general, sir. Now they must break.
That was Don's general. He charged in, so that was a suicide charge there from him. I feel for the French team a little bit. Something went horribly wrong all of a sudden, and it seemed to be beyond the team's control. Alright, we're back. These Spanish units that were on the other side now, they've moved themselves around. Now these guys here, they ain't no AI. We got one unit here, that's is it pursuing somebody? No, they're walking. I'm not sure where they're walking to. There's no building they can capture in time. There's 52 seconds left on the clock. Alright guys, we're back. It crashed right at the end there. I couldn't believe it. But thought I owed it to you to see how it unfolded at the very end. As you can see, the Spanish now have the French surrounded. It's only a matter of time before the French fall. I think it's safe to say the Spanish have turned this around and they will achieve victory had we had more time. Okay, so Thundernut there, 1238. Richard Lionheart, 1156. Johnny LeBuffin, 686. Gear here, 995. Angry Peasant, 1193. Don, 935. And Zeus, Notorious, 484. Kill counts here range from 90 to 30 actually. 4 other units getting over 100 kills. The rest range from 93 all the way down to 0. And that is it. So if you want to see your own Total War replay feature video on this very channel, guys, don't forget to check out those links you'll find in the video description below. They show you how you can send me through your Total War replay, or you can simply tag in the replay post on other Total War discords as well. This is Micka from Scout Entertainment signing off. Goodbye my fellow Scout Troopers. Catch you all in the next Total War battle.